time. And there's that music telling us it's time.
Yeah, time to talk about doing social right. And I had 2 comments on my blog this week about folks who are starting their Facebook pages and looking at, from a business perspective, how to effectively launch that Facebook page. And one thing that was really interesting, both people, the commonality in their question was, should I go with my business name or something that's a little more engaging on Facebook? And for example, one of the gentlemen who was asking this question, his business name was something like ES Enterprise. And he said, should I call my Facebook page ES Enterprise? And I right away, without even hearing any more, no, you shouldn't. Because why would I want to follow or connect with a Facebook page called ES Enterprise? What his business does is create magnets for your business. So I said, come up with something like Magnet Man or Hey Magnets or I'm stuck on you with magnets, something that when I see that Facebook page, I know what you do. And then you can have a link to your website for more information. And the other person had a similar question, and they actually have a painting business, and I'm just going to give them a shout out because I love them over there. Vivax Painting. They've actually painted our house, and they have now their Twitter handle and their Facebook page, Hey Paint Guy. So, one of the things I think companies are realizing is if we want people to like us on Facebook, we really have to do things, we have to be a little more creative, because think about it, the average person gets so many requests to like pages, and as a consumer, I'm asking why. Why would I want to connect with you? So I think when we're talking about doing social right, make sure your Facebook business page has a name that is, think about the engagement level of that name and why would people want to follow you. So, that's what I have to say on that one. That's, my 2 cents.
That's a good one. We're just creating our Facebook page, and I have a Facebook account. I'm fairly new at it, and we figured out how to do the fan page, and I had Katie at work help us, and it's interesting. But
It's not easy.
It's not easy, and it's also throwing as much content as you can into, because without content, who cares?
Yeah, that's a great point too, because this magnet guy, his page had one post on it, and it really didn't have enough yet to invite people. So I went over there and became his first fan, and I suggested to him, post helpful tips. 3 or 4, maybe 4 or 5, put some pictures, make it look like home before you invite people in.
Make it like a magnet. Make sure people stick to you, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So, I think we have to look at how do we engage that community beyond just a brochure on Facebook, because we really need to go beyond. And when you look at engaging Facebook pages, business pages, they really have content there that serves a community. It's not just buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. It really has some helpful tips. I suggested to him, find some statistics on how many people keep a magnet business card versus throwing away a business card, because it's most people, for some reason, if it's a business card with a magnet on the back, all of a sudden we put it on a refrigerator holding our kids' artwork.
That's the only reason to have a backup.
Those type of statistics, I think, are helpful to launch that page.
Well, I thought refrigerators were strictly for magnets. That's the only reason they're really there.
If you saw my favorite magnet, mine says, I've child-proofed my house, but they still get in. I'm always collecting magnets that let my kids know my thoughts. No, but, enough about my therapy. So, yeah, that's what I have for social. What do you think? Any thoughts on that, or?
I think you're perfectly right on with that one. And one of the keys is really to make sure that, the way a lot of people do it, and the way I've done it, is I have my personal Facebook page, which has groups, which are family, friends, business. And then we've got the fan page from that. So I guess when I follow someone, I don't know if it's the company following or if it's actually me. I think it's me following someone or liking something. And as a result, it personalizes it a little bit versus strictly business. So that's just one of those things. You have to kind of figure out which works better, and like I said, we're new at this, so we're kind
well. And I'll tell you, last week or maybe it's been this week. No, it was last week. My days are all blurring together. Some huge changes in Facebook pages came out. And it was so much we couldn't fit it in today's content. But next show, we'll talk about some of these changes and how it's really beneficial for businesses. Because when I connect with people on my personal profile, they cannot see anything from my fan page, my business page. And my business page folks cannot see anything on my personal page. But now what Facebook has done is allowed us to, I call it the cloak of invisibility. So we'll talk about how you can put on the persona of your business page and go and comment on other business pages. And there's pros and cons. We now have to be on higher spam alert for people going and doing that in inappropriate ways. But yeah, it's confusing. There's a lot to know about Facebook pages, but they're a really effective marketing tool. So I think next week we need to spend some time on the social part about these new changes, because there's some really cool features for a business to use. But we manage Facebook pages for several accounts, and it's interesting how, if you don't already have a personal page, it's a lot of work to build the following on a fan page. Even if you have a lot of friends.
Right.
It's hard to do that. So,
hey Gina, here's a question for you.
There's some cool new things that help you.
And here's a question for you. We get this all the time from people. Is it worth advertising on Facebook?
I've done it. I've tested it. It can be if you have a specific event you're trying to get people to sign up for. But ask yourself, how many times have you clicked on one of those ads on the right side of your Facebook page? I mean, very, very low numbers of people will do that.
Yep.
So, and I've heard other people, there's a couple of places that they're paying for, and I question the ethics on this, but you can pay for, well, I don't even question it. I don't think it's ethical. You're paying a company to go out and get you. They connect you, and I'm not sure how that's done, because they connect people to your fan page. So you're getting false fans. And if all of a sudden I'm getting content from a page that I did not although the problem is we like so many pages randomly because we see them, we may not even pay attention. But that is being done, and that's not ethical, because it really is an opt-in, and you have to do the work. If you want fans to recommend your page, it's a full-time job, is what and that's why we do that for a lot of folks.
And it's the same thing on Twitter. You've got a lot of people who offer you the service of getting you thousands of followers.
Right.
I got a follower the other day that was a human being. So I thought that was really interesting. Yeah.
Was a human being?
Which makes me wonder, what are my other followers? Aliens from Alpha Centauri, maybe? I don't know.
Well, there are a lot of those too out there.
But when somebody puts in their profile, human being.
I am a human being.
No kidding. It's an interesting.
From points. Yeah.
It's an interesting one.
That's funny.
It's my cynical self comes down and go, are you really? You wouldn't be telling me that if you were, would you?
Yeah, exactly. I love people's bios. I'm always commenting when I see a clever bio, which is another social tip, social media. Make sure your bio has something, especially on Twitter. When I follow people back, because I do read I go and I look at every person that I follow back. I don't auto-follow people. And whenever I see someone with something clever in their bio, it makes them stand out to me. I immediately comment on their bio. I send them a message saying, I love that you're, a chocoholic or whatever. And I think that's important, because right now it is such a crowded environment. To stand out in social media, your sites, your pages, and your bios have to really be engaging. You have to be different.
I got one the other day that actually got my attention. It said, husband, father, woman. I did a double take on that one. I was thinking, is that a typo? No, that would be a double typo. I'm confused. What? But anyway, it was an interesting one. Husband, father, woman.
And woman.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and you hear Helen Reddy singing in the background. And I guess one more before we move on to the next shiny objects topic, but one more social right. A student in Larry's class, again, shout out to all you guys watching. This is awesome. Larry makes this part of homework. I'm loving that. But one of the questions was, what social site should you be on? What's the best site for looking for a job? And do employers really check these sites? LinkedIn, you need to be, I think every student should be taught the ins and outs of how to get your profile found on LinkedIn. And the tip I have for you is, you don't follow the format LinkedIn gives you to just put everything in a nice, neat little package the way they have it. Make sure it's keyword loaded. So in your current work history and your current work experience and your past work experience, make sure you have keywords, because that's how companies find people. They do a search for, electrical engineer. Well, whose profile comes up when they do that search? Well, it's the person that has the words electrical engineer the most times in their profile in those first two areas. And if you do a LinkedIn search for technology speaker, I come up number one because I have that several places in my bio and in my experience. So yeah, definitely if you're looking for a job, get on LinkedIn, create a profile, start connecting with everybody. There is no, should I not connect with people? There's no harm in connecting with people. Build your network there, but keyword your profile. So tip for you on that one.
That's some really good advice. And guess what? We are now moving on to our next topic, Gina's favorite topic.
Shiny objects, bling, bling. Okay, it's Girl Scout cookie time. My favorite time of the year.
Yummy.
And then followed by Girl Scout cookie time is Easter, and the little eggs, the malt ball eggs, robin eggs. I die for those. But let's just, I did have to get some research going on this. My favorite cookie, the Samoa. Here's something interesting and how this ties into shiny objects. Girl Scouts, of course, came selling cookies about, a couple weeks ago. And I asked one of the Girl Scouts that came to the door, do you guys take credit cards yet? I mean, I knew what the answer was going to be, but I just wanted to see. And of course, there was a mom there with her. She goes, no, but that would be really helpful. They only take cash or checks. And I said, do you know that by next year, here's my prediction, by next year, Girl Scouts will take credit cards because of this little shiny object. This is the Square, and some of you may have already heard of this. Some of you may already have the app on your phone or your iPad. You can download the app for free on your iPad and your phones, Android and iPhones. And it's called the Square. You know what's terrible? I can't remember the website. It's not just thesquare.com.
I think it's squareup.com.
Thank you. Yeah, I was going to say it has something else.
We're showing it right now, Gina.
.com. So you go to squareup.com and you have to fill out all the information and get approved because they have to connect with your bank. And so you give them, and this is a totally legit site. People are using this everywhere. And then they send you the little square after you've been approved, and they can now put money in your account. They send you this device for free. So this is free. The app is free. And now what you do, you go, let's say I'm a Girl Scout, and I say, do you want, and actually I've used this to sell books at conferences. You can also, if you're at dinner with a friend and they say, let's split the tab, but they don't have any cash with them, you can now take credit cards. It's so great. You can now whip out your app and you just open up the Square app. There we go. You plug in the little square into your microphone port. So I pop this in. Now you can see it brings up immediately the dollar amount I can fill in, and I can put in $80 worth of Girl Scout cookies. And then I can hit, enter, and then I'm not going to go through with it, but then you swipe the credit card. This little square has a slit in it, and you swipe the credit card. So it's kind of like the Apple Store. When you go in there, they have a similar device that they're using. Swipe it in, and then what it does is it says, is this amount okay? The customer signs with their finger. Now, iPads do have a stylus, which, it's terrible about stylus is you never can find them. I have one and I don't know where it is, but you can sign with your finger, and then it emails the receipt directly to them immediately. You can enter their email address and it will email the receipt to them, and the money goes in your bank account. The fees are extremely low. It's lower. Now I've done several different payment options where I can do payment carts on site places and take credit card. Always ended up paying like double fees. This is, I want to say, like 3 or 4%. And which is very low for a mobile credit card device. So I think this is the coolest thing. And next year, mark my word, Girl Scouts will say cash, check, or charge.
Now, that's absolutely awesome. And it's so simple.
So simple. Yeah. It's just really a cool device. I think another problem is you don't want to lose it. Not that somebody could use it
True.
for
That's
yours.
about the size of a compact flash card, isn't it?
Yeah, you have to keep it. I have a little gadget keeper, which
Now this would have been good design. Did they put a
broken.
little thing where you could put a string on it or something that you could actually put a necklace on, that kind of thing? That would have been smart.
Oh, you know what? That's see, there we go. Somebody out there invent somehow the make a little, yeah, necklace